Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look, a more follow-up, a more in-depth look at Hayden Christensen's rumored return as Anakin in Star Wars. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding Star Wars Coffee for the first time, be sure to always hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. And don't forget to check out Star Wars Coffee on Twitter and Twitch. And don't forget to check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise. Links are in the description below.
Do it!
And now let's go to a galaxy far, far away.
This is the way.
So a couple days ago, we talked about Hayden Christensen in talks to reprise his role as Anakin Skywalker, with that news likely to debut at Star Wars Celebration as a result of the fact that it has not been canceled yet. This is the same celebration we're expected to see the announcement officially confirming Rosario Dawson to play a live-action Ahsoka in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, which already has wrapped up filming and production and is now in post. With that being the case, this Hayden Christensen, as I had predicted, has picked up a little bit of steam around the Star Wars community, with a follow-up report coming from Mr. Jeremy Conrad over at Star Wars Unity, who we've reported with from the channel before. He has a piece titled, Hayden Christensen Rumored to Return as Anakin in the Obi-Wan Series. So you'll take note before we take a look at this article, that the title itself gives way to the fact that it's, as I speculated in the prior video, which I will have a link in the description for you guys, is that Hayden Christensen is not likely to get his own series, his own live-action show, his own anthology film, his own anything, other than the fact that I predicted that he's a likely cameo in the Obi-Wan Kenobi spin-off series. And with that being the case, we're going to take a look at this piece by Jeremy Conrad, very short, essentially him speculating on the LRM report that we took a look at a couple days ago, saying, Star Wars fans have been wanting to see Hayden Christensen return to the franchise for a long time. His appearances at recent conventions and Star Wars premieres have fueled speculation that he'd be coming back in some way, and fans had hoped to see an Anakin Force Ghost in The Rise of Skywalker, but we just got his voice. So we're going to take a pause right there after his first paragraph. All of this, everything he said up to this point, very true. Hayden Christensen has been rumored to return and has been wanted to return to the franchise for a long time. This is true. Anytime he does an interview, he gets asked about Star Wars. He gets asked as if he would reprise his role as Anakin. I have a whole Hayden Christensen playlist on the channel specifically because of the interest in Hayden Christensen. I have interviews, clips of him talking about the fact that he would like to reprise his role as Anakin. You can check that out on the channel. Also, The Rise of Skywalker, Anakin Force Ghost. Everyone had been hoping for that too, ever since the continuation of the sequel trilogy. It had been rumored that Anakin would be in the sequel trilogy in some way, given the fact that we saw Hayden Christensen replace Sebastian Shaw in the Return of the Jedi as Force Ghost Anakin. So, continuing on with the piece. Now comes a rumor from LRM Online that claims Hayden Christensen will be reprising his role in the upcoming Obi-Wan series on Disney+. Yes, this is what I had speculated, much like Jeremy Conrad, who I agree with, and this is the logical assumption for a Star Wars fan who just takes a look at the evidence we have thus far, which is essentially just conjecture at this point, but is supposedly from a source that Michael Connolly has, saying that this would be announced at Star Wars Celebration. So, within the very distant future, we will find out if this information is true or not. However, continuing with the piece by Jeremy Conrad, of course, this raises a lot of questions about exactly how he'll be returning. As Obi-Wan did not see Anakin until he faced off against Darth Vader on the first Death Star, it's doubtful that this would be a face-to-face meeting. Also, at this point in the timeline, Anakin is really just a charred torso that occasionally takes a break in a bacta tank on Mustafar. With all of that in mind, it's very likely that this will be just a flashback if it happens. Boom. That's what I've been saying. This is what I have been saying about the appearance of Anakin in the Kenobi series in my last video. This is essentially my main point of the speculation, which the reason I'm sharing this update with you guys by Jeremy Conrad is to say that this is the logical piece. So I don't want anybody getting carried away with the fact that this is likely to be an Anakin/Darth Vader film or an in-depth look at that, but rather just, you know, a cameo essentially in the Kenobi series. And this would have to be a flashback, as Jeremy Conrad points out, taking a break in the back tank at Mustafar. Very interesting way of putting it, but nonetheless, just as true. Continuing on with the last piece, there is some circumstantial evidence that this could be real. Joby Harold, who was writing the Obi-Wan series for Lucasfilm, directed a movie in 2007 titled Awake, which just happened to star Hayden Christensen, so the writer of this series does have history with him. And this is why we are reporting on this piece today, there is a connection to Hayden Christensen and the Kenobi series via this writer. So it's not completely out of the question, and the reason that Star Wars Celebration has not been canceled, Disney, Lucasfilm, they like to make their big announcements at Star Wars Celebration. They like to show their big teasers. This is what they did with The Mandalorian. They showed a couple scenes from it. They did the Rise of Skywalker official trailer release. They did that with The Last Jedi. They've just continued to do that. Star Wars Celebration is essentially like Apple's keynote when they released the new iPhones. This is just the Star Wars version of that. And Hayden Christensen announcement would be kind of like the next generation of the iPhone. Not an S here, but the real next thing. So I think that that's important to take note of. And the fact that there is a connection between Hayden Christensen and this is very much adding credibility to this idea that Anakin will cameo in it. And if I was a betting man, I would easily bank on this, especially considering they bringing back Ewan McGregor, which shows that Disney is now willing to touch the prequels. Ewan McGregor, always beloved for his role in the prequels as Obi-Wan Kenobi, is now feeling the love of the prequels more that the sequel trilogy is out. So in theory, it should be a no-brainer for Disney to continue to play off the prequel love, considering that Clone Wars takes place in that era and that just wrapped up a very successful 7th season. But let me know what you guys think about this in the low. Again, subscribe to Star Wars Coffee on YouTube for your daily dose of Star Wars, your analysis, your in-depth look at all things Star Wars. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.